What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you. This time, we will be doing this mock on Yahoo. First time in a while. And that's going to allow us to go ahead and see how this compares to some other platforms. So, should be pretty exciting. This will be a 12-team half PPR mock, and we will be selecting from the 4th overall position. And as you can see, we're about to kick this thing off any second now. And while we wait, a quick reminder, if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter, All Day Pigskin, to continue interacting with us there. And most importantly, let us hear it in the comments section. Do you agree, disagree with these selections? What are your thoughts on the teams, along with any questions you guys might have? We will do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's take a look at this thing because we are on the clock. The first couple of picks have been made. They are as follows: Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook. And I'm picking 4th overall. This is half PPR, but, I'm going Christian McCaffrey here. I'm not really going to second guess it. Look, in my standard scoring formats, I have Christian McCaffrey still ranked as a top 3 running back. So you better believe in any PPR type of format, if I can get him 4th overall, that is an absolute steal in my opinion. And I definitely feel like that's the case here. And this is part of the stuff that I love, kind of comparing and contrasting from doing mocks on different platforms. We've done a lot of mocks so far through Fantasy Pros. Well, now doing one through Yahoo here, you see Christian McCaffrey was kind of ranked 4th, 5th, 6th overall, which is absolutely insane. That basically means if you're drafting in the first round in Yahoo, you don't need to have a top 2 pick to guarantee that you're going to get Christian McCaffrey. You can get him, as I just did, 4th overall, 5th, maybe even 6th overall, which is absolutely insane and a great value in my opinion. Now, of course, I know all the issues, McCaffrey, injuries, the last 2 seasons, but when the guy's healthy, which is how we have to treat our projections for all of these players, well, look, he is going to be an absolute stud. That's been the case when he's been healthy these last 2 seasons. And again, he's a cheat code in any PPR type of format. Now, just for the sake of kind of, showing you guys the draft board and, just discussing what other options would have been on the table for us, the first 3 picks were Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook. So 4th overall, honestly, I loved the options here for us. I would have looked at Najee Harris. I would have looked at Austin Eckler. I honestly didn't expect Christian McCaffrey to be on the board. I thought I would have to be deciding between Dalvin Cook and Najee Harris. Maybe Austin Eckler is an outside chance. But look, again, I think we got very lucky with Christian McCaffrey where we got him. So this was a nice little start to the draft. Afterwards, you see Eckler, you see Cooper Kupp, you see Najee Harris. No issues there. Then Justin Jefferson, Nick Chubb. Way too early for Nick Chubb. I realize this is half-point PPR, not full point, but still way too early for him. Much rather go with Mixon. Much rather go with Swift. Aaron Jones. So that's just something that I think was a bit of a reach here in the first round. Then you see Jamar Chase. So a lot of wide receivers in the first round. I realize it's half-point PPR, but in my opinion, it's not that much more different than full-point PPR. That's kind of how I approach this. And I'd still be focusing on the running back position because no matter what format, it's pretty much still one of the more important ones. So the second round starts out with Javonte Williams. I hate that pick. I've been on record saying that. And I think he has pretty much no business being in the first 2, even 3 rounds compared to some of the other running backs that are on the board. So let's look at some of those aforementioned players. And at wide receiver, if we quickly look at it, there's been a little bit of a run. Mike Evans is still there. Tyreek Hill. I could go Evans, but since, Christian McCaffrey is a guy that, quote unquote, injury prone, let's draft another running back. Let's draft Aaron Jones. I've been doing this pretty much everywhere. If I can get Aaron Jones in the second round, that is an absolute smash for me, and I love everything about that. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. My roster right now consists of McCaffrey, Aaron Jones. I really like that start. Let's quickly go back to the second round here to see any other picks that kind of stuck out. So Saquon Barkley, a second round selection. In Fantasy Pros mocks that we were doing, he was going like in the third round. I do think his ADP will rise, so I'm not too shocked by that. My guess would be end of the second round selection, somewhere around there. But obviously, the nice thing here is we don't have to deal with bots or kind of random selections. All of these picks right now, I would say, are pretty accurate. Nothing extremely crazy, which I like to see. And with that being the case, I think you get a better feel of how things might shape up during your actual draft day. Now, let's go back on the clock here. It's the third round, and we've got another choice to make. And to me, it's a pretty easy one. I'm not going to be going tight end. I'm not going to be going quarterback. So I'm looking at wide receiver. The wide receiver that I really like here, safe as you could get. It is half PPR, so not quite full PPR. It doesn't get the same oomph, the same huge upside that he normally would. But Keenan Allen's still a very, very safe pick in my opinion, and I'm very happy with that selection. Mark Andrews goes immediately afterwards. If Travis Kelce was there, I would have gone Travis Kelce, but he went in the second round. I do, again, like the fact that Kelce is going before Mark Andrews. I think that should be the case. I have him as my number one tight end across all formats. As we do more of these mocks, we'll see if that's the case on NFL, on ESPN, on all these other platforms. But I think that will be the consensus come August and September. I've been on record saying that, and I continue to believe it. But look, our first two picks, McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, we addressed the running back position. Great. Then I think we get pretty lucky with Keenan Allen. I would have loved it if Mike Evans fell to us. That would have been my kind of preferred pick. But either way, I think Keenan Allen is not something you can be too upset about. Now, with Mike Evans, the reason I mentioned him is without Chris Godwin, I think he has huge, huge upside. We'll see if Godwin misses any time, if at all. But, it's a possibility. So for that reason, you kind of have to look at Evans' projections a little bit higher potentially. But after our selection of Keenan Allen, you see Mark Andrews, like I said, James Conner, Antonio Gibson. I'd be taking David Montgomery ahead of Antonio Gibson. I like to see the fact that Ezekiel Elliott didn't last until like the end of the third round or like the fourth round. I think this is more accurate. Again, it's really refreshing to see what this draft board looks like with actual individuals that are making these picks. So a name like Ezekiel Elliott still has, kind of staying power. And I do think that is something to think about. Cam Akers, I really don't like that pick, honestly. All these running backs that have gone afterwards, Antonio Gibson, James Conner, David Montgomery, I would take ahead of Cam Akers. Oh man, there goes Travis Etienne. I was really wondering if he would make it back to us in the fourth round, but he goes in the early fourth. Man, talk about that team going ultra running back heavy. Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, David Montgomery, Travis Etienne. I don't mind it though, but see, that's the nice thing. We've already got McCaffrey, we've got Aaron Jones, so we can afford to now kind of wait on the running back position until a couple more rounds go by. We can address wide receiver, we can address other positions, whether it's tight end, whether it's whatever the case might be. I think it's going to be a good start for us. Now it's all about how we finish. There goes Kyle Pitts. I was kind of expecting that at some point in time. I was debating maybe going tight end in the fourth round, but kind of the turnaround isn't all that much. There goes Darren Waller. So I'm assuming George Kittle, probably if any of these people go on auto pick, is going to be one of these next selections. So right now, just kind of looking at all the top players, there's George Kittle, Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore. I'm going to stick to wide receiver here, and I'm going to go with some guys that I just really, really like. And one of those is Allen Robinson. I've been on record saying how much I like him. So let's go ahead and do that. Draft him here. We were a little bit short on time. Probably the better combination, actually, now looking at it, would have been to take George Kittle, then Allen Robinson. in the fifth round, there would have been a much higher chance that Allen Robinson was available for us in the fifth round as opposed to George Kittle because there is going to be that drop off in tight end. But it's okay. It happens. If we had a little bit more time, we would have made that switch, but I was worried that we would go an auto pick otherwise. No worries. I think that we can still go potentially with a quarterback. Interesting to see here. Josh Allen was the first quarterback. That's not really all that crazy. What's interesting to me was that Lamar Jackson is the second quarterback off the board. Usually that's somebody like a Justin Herbert or a Patrick Mahomes. So that's something to point out there. Now, here looking at these next couple of selections, unfortunately, George Kittle is picked in the fifth round. Like I said, that's something I should have switched up. I should have gone George Kittle in the fourth round first, then gone Allen Robinson in the fifth. But that's on me. Next time we can adjust that. But right now, I think we can continue to hit the wide receiver position. Quarterback, I think we'll be able to get potentially a Kyler Murray in the next round. Running back, there's nobody that I necessarily love here. So again, going to wide receiver. The next highest guy on my list would be a Marquise Brown. I already have Keenan Allen, so as much as I love Mike Williams, it doesn't really make too much sense to, draft Mike Williams as well here. Now, going back to our draft board, I anticipate we're going to see a bit of a run on wide receivers because this is where we kind of get to that sweet spot of a bunch of depth at that position. So kind of looking at our team so far, our core so far, Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, Marquise Brown, then Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones. So how would this have differed if, we went George Kittle in the fourth round? It would be Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, and then George Kittle instead of Marquise Brown. I doubt Marquise Brown would have made it back to us. We'll see. We will target a guy like a Hawkinson or a Dalton Schultz or a Cole Kmet in the next couple of rounds. And kind of like I said here, you're seeing that run on wide receivers. The next three picks have been all wide receiver: Michael Thomas, Courtland Sutton, DK Metcalf. I do like the value on Michael Thomas. It's a tremendous one. I just think Marquise Brown was a little bit of a safer pick. And, getting a little bit maybe greedy, but if I can pair him up with Kyler Murray in the sixth round, get that nice little stack, I would be very happy, even though I anticipate that there's probably going to be a quarterback run here at the end of the fifth and early sixth round. But we will see. Maybe we might get lucky and we might get one of the tier one guys drop to us. I'm not sure at this point in time. There goes Justin Herbert. So, slowly the quarterback pool is being depleted. Again, I wouldn't be shocked here if you see Patrick Mahomes off the board, if you see Kyler Murray. But as I bring up those names, there goes Patrick Mahomes. I was going to say, let's look at the quarterback list to see these rankings. Interesting that Yahoo has Joe Burrow ahead of Kyler Murray. I very much so disagree with that. But, that's just me. I'll take the rushing upside of Kyler Murray any day. Also here, Patrick Mahomes, Mike Williams at the start of the sixth round, awesome value. I absolutely love that selection. Again, I'd draft him a lot earlier. I'd be drafting Mike Williams like in the third round, but I had a chance to get Keenan Allen, so I wasn't really all that worried. Now, unfortunately, there goes Dalton Schultz as well. So the tight end pool is also getting depleted, and so is, probably the quarterback pool. All these teams before us here, these next four selections, don't have a quarterback. So honestly, I'd be pretty surprised if Kyler Murray makes it to us, because if there's any auto pick, it's going to automatically go to a quarterback. And, that's going to mean one less potential option for us there. And I really do think Kyler Murray at this point in time is the best option. It's not even close. So, yeah, there goes Joe Burrow. So I'm almost 100% positive, that Kyler Murray won't be available for us. So with that being the case, let's look at other options here, who we can add to the squad that we really like. I love Rashad Bateman. If he's there, you better believe that he's going to be my next pick. If the situation with Chris Godwin was a little bit more clear, I'd be going with Chris Godwin as well much earlier. There's still TJ Hawkinson. So I believe that Kyler Murray was just drafted. Let's see. Yes, he was. So that goes exactly as expected. Bummer, but we're going to be able to get at least Rashad Bateman here then. So I think we've done a very, very good job of getting, those wide receivers that we absolutely love that are primed for some breakout years. There goes Brendan Cooks. So yeah, I'm not really going to overthink this one too much. I'm just going with Rashad Bateman. Let's add him to the squad. We got a nice bench player here that is very much so worthy of a, starting roster spot. And for the sake of, the length of this video, I'm not going to make it one where we go all the way through all these rounds, have to endure kickers and defenses and, filling out the entire bench. I'm going to fill out the core of the roster. I think we'll still be able to kind of give you a grade, give you our thoughts on how we did. Right now, I kind of alluded to it. Some of the things that I wish we had done is potentially have gone George Kittle first, then Allen Robinson, just kind of switched up the order in the 4th and 5th round. Could have also gone Kyler Murray there, in retrospect, because we did predict a quarterback run and we were still able to get a guy like a Rashad Bateman. But, I'm never mad about having wide receiver one type guys landed in the 6th round and us have them as options on our bench. Are you kidding me? I'll take that any day of the week. There goes TJ Hawkinson. So, it is what it is. Let's see what other tight end options are left. There's Dallas Goedert. There's Dawson Knox. Somebody that's a lot lower on the list, Cole Kmet. But, I think I can wait another round before getting him. So right now, if we looked at quarterbacks, I think there's going to be another run here. So might as well just get a quarterback that I really like in Matthew Stafford. Jalen Hurts, I think that Hurts probably when it's all said and done will have a higher finish, on the 2022 kind of quarterback results. But I think Matthew Stafford will be much more consistent on a week in and week out basis, which to me is much more important. So for that reason, I went with Matthew Stafford. I got a nice little stack with Stafford and Allen Robinson as well. So that was something that, I'm pretty happy about. So we've got our quarterback. We've got Stafford. Definitely would have looked a lot nicer if we were able to get Kyler Murray. But, oh well, we missed that just by 3 picks. So it happens, though. You're going to be getting sniped pretty much in every single draft that you do. So it's something that you just kind of have to live with. Now, looking at other options here, let's see if there's any running backs that are kind of left over that have tremendous value that some people might have forgotten about. Tony Pollard is still there. He's interesting. As far as handcuffs for our guys, A.J. Dillon is gone. Christian McCaffrey, there's no clear-cut guy. We could add another piece. Here, I'm going to just scroll down a little bit to see if there's any kind of startable type of running backs that are still on the board, but, not really. But I feel really good about the 2 running backs that we do have. They're both studs. Obviously, if injuries hit, it's going to be a tough situation, but that's the case really anytime there's injuries to your first 2-round selections, which would be the case for us in McCaffrey and Aaron Jones. But it's okay. We can maybe snag Tony Pollard, and I'd be happy with that. Let's quickly look at the draft results. I wouldn't be shocked if, some wacky stuff started happening here with kickers or defenses. But no, that's probably going to be in the double-digit rounds. I'll go with a tight end here, because I do have Cole Kmet ranked relatively higher than these rankings in other websites' rankings. So if he's still there, I'm going to select him. And yeah, like I said, there you see it. You got a defensive selection, so that's an auto pick there. And it's this pretty much that signals that we're ready to wrap up this thing. So there goes Tony Pollard as well. Unfortunate, but I think we have a pretty good chance of landing Cole Kmet and kind of wrapping this thing up. Other tight ends that I like, you know, guys like a Gronk if he comes back, but you still don't know about that. So let me just make sure I get Cole Kmet, one of my kind of like breakout tight ends that I'm very excited about. Then here, I think there's still pretty good value left at wide receiver. Love Alan Lazard. I'm going to probably just take him in the next round and then wrap this thing up. But overall, I think we did a really good job. Like I said before, we just lost a little bit of time on that 4th round selection of Allen Robinson. Ideally, I should have gone George Kittle, then Allen Robinson in the next round, but I just didn't want to risk going an auto pick and drafting somebody that I completely didn't want. And then afterwards, you could make the case that instead in the 5th round of taking Marquise Brown, we should have gone Kyler Murray just because the wide receiver position is so deep. But I'm not too upset about it. I really love the fact that we have Marquise Brown and Rashad Bateman and Allen Robinson and Keenan Allen, and now we're going to add Allen Lazard to it. So I absolutely love our wide receiver room. In my opinion, it's an A. Our running backs, if they stay healthy, it's an A. How can you not give Christian McCaffrey and Aaron Jones an A grade? Then tight end, that's going to be a little bit more interesting. Quarterback, I think we got maybe not the sexiest, but I think we have a borderline top 5 guy, probably that's going to finish between top 5, top 8 in terms of fantasy scoring. So you can't hate that with Matthew Stafford. All in all, I give this draft probably like a B grade. If Cole Kmet hits, then it becomes like a B plus, A minus grade. But hey, let me know your thoughts. Do you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have? We will do our best to answer them all. A quick reminder, our 2022 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide is right around the corner. So keep an eye out for that. And in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.